Are you ready to live boldly, full out, and on your terms? It's time to wake up, overcome your fears, and embrace uncertainty. Access your power and claim your dreams. It's time for Tuck Talk with Tuck Self, the Rebel Belle. Join us now for inspiring conversation and bold self-expression for living life full out and on your terms. Now here is your host for today's podcast, the Rebelicious Tuck Self.
Allow me to introduce myself and just get started, and I will say, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Tuck Self, and for anybody who does know me, my name is still Tuck Self, and I am the Rebel Belle and a Southern voice for bold self-expression, and I am delighted to be here this Monday evening, and it's June 6th. It's certainly not June 16th, like the invitation said. But I'm just thrilled to be able to talk with you all tonight about living a revolutionary, I say, and a rebelicious life. And I know that there are boatloads of ways that we can do that. I actually teach and share many revolutionary tools for change and transformation in my work. And tonight, I get to share one of my favorite tools for aligning your energy so that you can have what you want and live that rebelicious and revolutionary life, and that is called, you all, living in the gap. So I'm going to talk to you about living in the gap, but before I do, I wanted to take a chance and take a little bit of time, you all, to tell you a little bit about me. Other than the fact that I love to say that I'm a self-proclaimed personal growth enthusiast with a desire to squeeze as much juice and joy out of life as I possibly can, I am also a coach, a mentor, a motivational and inspirational speaker, and most recently, I love to claim, a best-selling co-author of The Juicy Joyful Life. It's a delicious book if you hadn't read it. It contains 41 amazing stories from 41 delightful women who share their lessons and their struggles and how they've used those lessons, you all, to change and transform their life. I am also the author of The Revelation, and that would be a woman's rebelicious guide to freedom, liberation, and bold self-expression. And I'll share with you that I have many passions, but my main passion is inspiring and empowering my clients, and I always say anyone who's brave enough to step within 5 feet of my energy field to own their power, to trust their boldest voice of self-expression, and to share that with the world, and to do it full out and on their terms. And if we're really in a great place, we can kick that up a notch and do it with my favorite 3 Ps, and that would be passion and purpose and boatloads of play. So if you guys are ready, I'm going to share with you a little secret about how you can do that. Do those 3 Ps with me, and that is by living in the gap. So let me tell you what I believe the gap is. I think the gap, you all, is that space of time between the in-breath and the out-breath. It's that moment of time that can be really, really short or not, between stimulus and response. It's that moment of time where you can create or you can elongate that period of time between when those stimuli or stimulus come in from the outside world through all of your senses. I mean, like you take things in through your sight, through sound, through taste, through touch, and even through your intuition. Between that time and the time that you choose to do something with it or you choose to respond to it, however that works for you, or react to it, really, based on your attitude, your judgment, your perceptions at the time, and your point of view. Point being, you create the gap. You actually create the space of time where you can either be open to what the universe and God is bringing to you. You're poised like a kid on Christmas morning, I love to say, waiting for the surprise and the excitement to see what gifts you'll be receiving. Or you can be totally shut down, close up that little gap, pinch it off, and go unconscious kind of like a robot and just react, not respond, but react totally from conditioning and totally from your habits. Now, I assume that many, many, many people have heard of Viktor Frankl. He was a gentleman who spent many years in the Nazi concentration camps, and he has this to say about the gap, which I believe bears mentioning, and he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and it's in that space, you all, that it's in that space lies your growth, your freedom, and your power to choose your response. And it's in your response that lies your growth and your freedom. And those are huge words for me, growth and freedom. When I went to see Tony Robbins a couple of months ago, and he went over the 6 basic needs that we as individuals have, the 2 spiritual needs that he talked about were those of growth and that of contribution. So growth and freedom are 2 of these essence feeling experiences that we can embrace when we are living in the gap. You have the power to choose how to be in that gap. You can live a life of joy, creativity, and you can do it with ease, fun, and prosperity. Or you can choose unconsciously to live from habit and to live a life of struggle, frustration, and listen to the energy in my voice, continually pushing that rock uphill. So my question would be, which would you obviously choose? You can't see me, am raising my hand to live in the gap. I do presentations in and around the Columbia area and speak about how to live in the gap because, I think it's really, really important for those folks who are working day after day in corporations to really live in this gap. And so I did some research, and what I discovered was, this is amazing, 71% of the population today, you all, 71% of the people are merely surviving. Some people say it's closer to 80%, but you know what? It's just a huge percent. These individuals are not emotionally or psychologically connected to who they are or what it is that they do. I mean, there's like this ongoing inner struggle, inside of them to be a part of something bigger than who they are. 71%, which means that 29% of us or less are folks who are living in the gap. Now, these are folks who love who they are, they love what they do, and they have found a way to serve with meaning and with passion and with purpose. 71%. So I'm here tonight to spread the love. I'm here tonight, hopefully, with folks that are already in that 29% with me to share a little secret with you so that we can be, do the little 100th monkey syndrome and go out and share this with the rest of the world. So let's get on to talking, you all, about how to live in the gap. Ta-da! Here's how you live in the gap. You do it with gratitude, you do it with attitude, and you do it with perception. Now, if you are perceptive, what you will notice is that G.A.P, which spells gap, those letters actually are the first letters in these words. So from this day forward, you don't even have, see how simple I've made it for you? Living in the gap is just living with gratitude and attitude and perception. So let's talk about it. And let's start off by talking about gratitude. Now, gratitude for me, because it could be something different for all of us, but for me, you all, it is a state, it's being in a state of thankfulness every friggin' day for having the gift of life. It's getting up every day and planting my feet on the floor so that I can proclaim to God with a revelicious thank you that I am here for another day. Thank you for breathing life into this sometimes moody, sometimes tired, obstinate, and resistant body. And thank you for allowing me to wake up above ground, I love to say. And more importantly, y'all, if we could just say this every day, thank God for being me. Yeah, really, I wake up every day and I say, thank God that I get to be Tuck Self again today. I actually, and I'm sharing my little quote with you, wake up every day, I really do, and I say to myself, I love myself completely and unconditionally, just the way that I am in all of my power and magnificence. I am inspired by my purpose and my grace and the loving and the nurturing light of Mother, Father, God. I love myself. Wake up every day, you all, and affirm my fabulousness so that I can set the mood and the tone and the attitude and the perception of my day. I totally embrace the state of being so that when I walk out my door, I'm clear that I'm going out that door looking for people to love and looking for people to serve and even looking for people to love and serve me. Now, I don't know if that sounds conceited. I don't know if it sounds arrogant, but I really believe that we are so privileged to be here now, that we are living at a pivotal moment in the history of the human species, y'all, I do, and that each of us is unique and we're creative and we've got power, genius, and magic that we're here to share with others. And I believe that we've come here to express the life force of our Creator to us and through us, and that there is no way that we're going to be able to do that if we are moaning and we are groaning about our life. So, gratitude, think about it, gratitude. How do you feel when you're around people, you all, that feel good and grateful? And there's a guy at the gym, and he literally, I'm telling you, when he rounds the corner, the energy in the entire health club changes because this guy's just happy. It's how I feel when I'm around Tony Robbins. The dude has amazing energy, and I believe it's because he loves life and he's grateful for every friggin' moment that he has to live and to love and to share his passion. So gratitude is about taking it all in, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the taste, the touch. To walk outside when you get up in the morning and feel the sun on your face and the wind in your hair, to take in and experience the beauty of God's planet, because we're not going to have it forever, you all. We're not going to be in these physical bodies forever. So take it in, enjoy it, be enthused by it, and be grateful for it. Now, I have a little surprise for you, those of you who are here and those of you who will watch this later via the recording. I have made this thing in the G.A.P gratitude part very easy for you, and created something that I call the Gratitude, Affirmitude, and Dreams Play Journal, so that you can begin every day in gratitude, affirming your fabulousness and dreaming your dreams to fruition. It's just the cutest little play journal for your writing in PDF form. So if you will email me at tuck@therebelbell.com, I will be happy to email you the little play journal. So as we leave the gratitude portion, I invite you to be inspired by the abundance in your life and be enthused with the juice of all of God's creations, including you. So gratitude. Now the A in the G.A.P, you all, is all about attitude. And attitude for me is walking by faith and not by sight. It's getting up every day looking for what's right with the world. It is looking for possibility. It's looking for opportunities to be God's love on earth. For me, it's walking out the door with the absolute expectation every day that I believe that what I deserve is on its way to me, regardless of what my world looks like. It's choosing to feel good, and it's choosing to be happy, and choosing these states of being regardless of how my world appears. Now, I probably sound like Pollyanna, and there might be many of you who just wish I would just shut up, but really, I get that it's hard. I have days where it's hard, and I say that's because I've been trained to struggle. I've been trained to work hard, and I have been trained to pull myself up by my bootstraps. and to make life happen, and I have become really good at it. And, you know, it is. It's hard work. These attitudes, I say, have just been conditioned into who we are. That is how come 70-some-odd% of us, you all, are merely surviving, really, because we've been struggling so hard. The good news is we have a choice. I'm going to keep telling you that all night long. You got a choice, and you can choose to live in the gap. You can choose to see it the way that you want it to be. You can choose to see it the way that you want it to be. I got a little secret for you guys. Do you know that you really don't see with your eyes? Seriously, you don't see with your eyes. You actually see with the mind energy, the beliefs that you've been conditioned to see with. This is so important. You don't see with your eyes, really. You see with your mind energy. I'm going to give you an example by telling you about 2 studies. So listen up, because this is pretty cool. A group of folks were brought in for a study, and they put on a pair of glasses. And the glasses had a blue lens for the right eye and a yellow lens for the left eye. And these individuals were looking at a sheet of paper, and they were told to close the left eye, look through the right eye, and they were asked what they saw. And they said, oh, you know, darn, I see a blue sheet of paper. They closed their right eye, opened their left eye, and they say, I see a yellow sheet of paper, because they were looking through the colored lenses. So they were told to go off for 2 weeks and come back. And every single one of them, when they came back, were told to do the same thing again. Close your left eye. What do you see? Well, hark, you all, they saw a white sheet of paper. They closed their right eye, opened their left, and they saw a white sheet of paper. They did not see blue. They did not see yellow, because they saw what they wanted to see. They saw what they had the mind energy to see. They were not seeing with their eyes. Isn't it incredible? Another study was done, and this one just really rocks. And these individuals were given a pair of prism glasses, and when they put the prism glasses on their face, it immediately turned their world upside down. So that when they were looking through these glasses, we were walking upside down. Now, I've heard the stretch of time be different than the one I'm going to tell you, but for the purposes of the one that I was taught, within 6 hours, every single individual that had these prism glasses on turned the people back right side up. They turned the people back right side up. You know how come? Because people, to me, don't walk upside down. So my mind energy, my belief system, my conditioning is going to turn those people back right side up. Even though when I put the glasses on, the prism had been turned upside down. Now, y'all, that is fascinating. You do not see with your eyes. Now, why is this important? Because every morning when you wake up, you open your eyes and you allow your mind energy to tell you who you are. You allow your mind energy to remind you of who you are. I mean, it's a good thing that when you open your eyes and you put your feet on the floor, that the floor is there. It is a good thing that when you walk to the kitchen, it's still there and the coffee pot's where you want it. And it is a good thing to your ego that when you drive home at the end of the day, your garage is there so that you can feel safe, sane, and secure. But this ego that is fighting to protect you and fighting to keep you at homeostasis also fights to keep you in the environment that you're in, keep you in the habits that you're in. If we want to live in a total state of attitude and to walk by faith, not by sight, we've got to learn to think bigger, larger, and beyond our environment. We've got to wake up in the morning, you all, in a state of gratitude and affirm our fabulousness and proclaim, you know, who do I want to be today? Rather than saying, okay, now I remember I'm Tuck and I'm married to Larry and I have 2 children and I have, you know, a house. Rather than letting my environment define me that day, to wake up to all possibilities and to create it the way I want it to be and see it the way I want it to be. You know, we live in this world of certainty. We live in a comfort zone, sometimes too afraid to push the envelope and expand our world and to go beyond. But the great Dr. Joe Dispenza, from What the Bleep Do We Know, says, folks, you got to think greater than your environment. And how we do that is by asking questions that force our brain to go looking somewhere that it's never looked before, so that we can create new neural nets in our brain. So if I say, what is the highest ideal of myself? What would my life look like if I were no longer afraid to be bold and to ask for what I wanted? What would my life look like if I were in the relationship of a lifetime? I mean, those are high-vibe questions that my brain's got to go look for the answer to, because it's not there. The ones that are there are the ones that say, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to create this program? What if my clients don't show up? What if Larry doesn't love me anymore? I mean, da-da-da-da-da-da. I have practiced that way of thinking until it has defined my environment. And if I want to walk by faith and not by sight and look for opportunities and possibilities, I've got to be willing to think larger than my environment. Isn't it great? So you have to look beyond where we are, you all. You can remember it this way. The quality of your life today is going to be equal to the quality of the questions that you ask. So I invite you to get up with a fabulous attitude tomorrow and every day, and to begin asking yourself questions that expand your mind and your thinking and allow your environment not to define who you are. Because you know what? Did you know that the cells of your body are actually listening? Every little cell in your body is listening, you all, to how you are going to respond to your environment. They're listening for your attitude. So if you wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude, you are going to expand. You're not just going to live in the gap. You're going to expand your gap by seeing things the way you want them to be, and you're going to begin creating the life that you desire. Attitude is everything, you all. It's just everything. So you know everything about gratitude, and you know everything about attitude. How about perception? Perception, perception, perception. Did you know, you all, that every day when you wake up, you actually set a filter in your mind about how you're going to perceive the stimulus that we're talking about, and how you set your filter has everything to do with how you're going to experience your world. You set the filter of how you're going to experience your world. So remember, we said you can wake up every day and you can let your environment define who you are, or you can walk by faith and not by sight and ask those high-vibe questions that expand your thinking. Because how you set your filter for your input has every friggin' thing to do with how you experience your world. Here's your little mathematical formula for the day. Filter of your input equals your experience. You do it. I told you y'all going to be so tired of telling me choice. You do it. Now, here's an intriguing little tidbit. You set your filter to one of three different ways, you all. You can set it either to love, you can set it to fear, or you can set it to hostility. Now, if in the morning you get up and you set your filter to fear, what do you think the experience of your day is going to be? Well, fearful, of course. It's going to be anxious. It's going to be worrisome. You're going to feel insecure. You're going to have thoughts like, oh my God, am I going to run out of money? Am I going to be late, to my practice, to my job? What if I never find that perfect mate? Oh God, what if I never find the perfect job? What if, worry, anxiety, fear. I mean, set it and you will experience it, and I promise you, set it to fear and you will be friggin' exhausted, you all, and you're just going to stay clumped in that 71% that's merely surviving. That's what happens when you set it to fear. Now, if you set it to hostility, guess what your experience will be? It will be one of anger, an angry, angry day, you all. And not only will you experience a day of anger, you're actually going to go look for things to piss you off. I promise you, you will look for things to piss you off. This is that trigger event when you're driving to work in your car and you get cut off by the driver who pulls in front of you, and you friggin' go off in anger and hostility on your emotional wave, rather than taking that deep breath in and exhaling and thanking that sweet car driver for the lesson. I mean, have you ever wondered why it is that sometimes when you're driving to work, You'll come to a stoplight, same stoplight you drive up to every day, but on some days, you're happy, you're singing in your car, life is good, sitting at that stoplight. And the very next day, you'll be at that exact same stoplight, and you'll just be so pissed off that it has decided to turn red on you. It is because you set your filter to anger that day. You're in control. You are in control, and you have a choice. How you set your filter has everything to do with how you're going to experience your life. How you set your filter has everything to do with how you're going to hold your energy, and how you set your filter has everything to do ultimately, you all, with your physiology. And that is because how you set your filter will create the filter for your thoughts. It will create the thoughts you have that day, and the emotions that are carried with that thought and that flood those thoughts. Every thought that you have has an emotional and a chemical component to it that just floods and rushes through your body. And if it's left unresolved, you all, it can crystallize into your body and ultimately create your physiology, your biology, your mood, your personality, and your temperament. What do you think when we say, oh, he's just an angry person, or she's just a moody person? It's because they have memorized that way of being. If you set your filter to fear and to anger long enough, if you practice it enough, our bodies will become that physiology. The body will ultimately become the mind. Mind and body will ultimately become one because the body is memorizing this way of being. It makes sense if we go back to the prism glasses, and you really get how come these folks were able to turn their world, back right side up, because their mind energy had memorized that way of being. So what happens if you set it to fear and hostility? So let's pick this up. Let's lift it up a little bit. What happens if you set the filter to love? Well, I say that this is what God instructed us to do when he said, love yourself, love your neighbor, and love God. That if we set the filter to love every day, you all, before we get out of bed, we will, I'm telling you, hold love, compassion, empathy, and acceptance for everyone that we see, including ourselves. We will say, there but by the grace of God go I. You'll hold your temper when you're triggered by some outside person or circumstance, rather than reacting and going off on your emotional wave of anger. You'll find yourself responding from the gap. You'll just be in that gap from a total state of neutrality and say, thank you for teaching me. Thank you for the lesson. This is how it works, you all, when we set the perceptive filter to love, where you get to listen to yourself and others with absolute respect and with empowered listening. And I'm even going to say with an open heart. I have talked about the power of the mind, in talking about gratitude, attitude, and specifically perception, the power and the strength of our mind, because we talked about that when we talked about the prism glasses. And we've talked about the fact that every thought carries an emotional and a chemical component, and how we can practice that state of being so much until we become that the mind is fighting to maintain homeostasis and to maintain our reality and an environment the way that it is. The mind is a powerful thing, but you all, so is the heart. The heart is a powerful, powerful mechanism, especially for living in the gap. We talk about the thoughts carrying the chemical component. We talk about thoughts carrying, emotional components. This is all a really good thing, because if you set your filter to love every day, if you set your filter to thoughts of love every day, then the experience of your life is going to be thoughts of love and emotions of love. You're going to flood your life with the emotions that have come from that filter of love. Why is that important? It is important because the language of your heart is the language of emotions. And if you're flooding it with emotions of love, then that's going to be your experience. And again, why is that important? Because we talk again about the brain being so powerful and having electrical and magnetic components. I mean, you can even see thoughts. Research has shown that you can actually see thoughts that people think. When we are in the heart, and when we're speaking the language of the heart, when we set our filter to love, the human heart can create the most powerful electrical charge in the human body and the powerful magnetic field in the human body that, as far as the electrical charge goes, it's 100 times stronger than the brain. And as far as the magnetic field goes, it's 5,000 times stronger than the human brain. I mean, the power of your heart, when you set your filter to love, to fuel your emotions with love, to align your body, because remember, this is all about building the physiology in your body so that your body ultimately becomes your mind. Can you see how beautifully the heart, the mind, and the body can become one? So I've now shared with you my revelicious secret of how you can live in the gap. You know, we are a privileged species, you all. We can make thought more real than anything else. We can choose our thoughts so wisely. You know, a study was done with a group of depressed people and a group of happy people, and they were shown an equal number of funeral and wedding slides. The depressed people said there were most definitely a greater number of funerals, and the happy people said no, there are a greater number of weddings. So it's all perception, you all. You get to choose how you want to be. You get to choose to be in the gap or not. You get to choose to be in your heart. So when something comes your way, take your time and be open with it. Breathe and be in that space of all possibility rather than reacting from fear and judgment. You know, I invite you to live in the gap. Stay open. Stay neutral. And allow yourself to respond rather than going into your mind and reacting unconsciously. So from this day forward, you have your litmus test on how you can live in the gap. You can be in gratitude. Be grateful for all that you have, you all, and for being you, because you're fabulous. Walk by faith and not by sight, and learn to push that envelope and think greater than your environment. Set your perceptive filter to love every day, and when you set it to love, and your experience begins to be that of love, and your emotions of love are flooding into your heart, the heart opens, and when the heart is open, you all, the body and the mind are aligned, and when the body and the mind are aligned, you are forever, and from this day forth, living in the gap. So, again, I have shared my revelicious secret with you all on how to live with gratitude, attitude, and perception. And, you know, as a coach and a mentor, and I love to say a catalyst for change, I am passionate, as I told you at the beginning of this webinar, about sharing revelicious tools that guide and assist folks in that change, that allow them to be who they are, doing what it is that they love to do so that they can be in that gap and manifest everything that they want. I also, in addition to the secret that I've shared with you this evening, provide tools through two other venues that I say can really ground you in not just living in the gap, but in stretching that thing out, in elongating that gap. And the more that we stretch it out, you all, and the more that we elongate and live in that gap, we will sustain the joy. We're going to sustain the prosperity. We're going to sustain the love, and we're going to sustain the fulfillment. And, you know, I just think that rocks. So one of the tools that I share with folks in doing that is something called human energy design. I'm not going to talk about that this evening. I just wanted to mention it in case you all have not had the privilege, I'll even call it, of attending the webinars where I talked about human energy design, which I believe is the tool for the 21st century. Myers-Briggs on steroids. The most revolutionary system for being who you are, one that introduces you to your energy signature, that introduces you to literally your DNA imprinting and how you came to express yourself in the world, and it gives you a strategy for living life on your terms in a way that's going to bring to you everything that your little heart desires. If you are interested in learning about human energy design, I invite you to visit the website, therebelbell.com, and check on that petticoat ruffle that says Human Energy Design. Access your free chart, and introduce yourself. Give yourself the gift of Human Energy Design, y'all. It's a fabulous tool for being who you are and living in the gap. I also deliver tools through, and it has everything to do with my new book, you all, The Revolution, A Woman's Revolutionist Guide to Freedom, Liberation, and Bold Self-Expression. I like to say it's my Rebel Bell 7-step philosophy that has been created from my personal journey to owning my power, trusting my voice, and living on my terms. So I share these steps with my clients in a 12-week course that goes in depth with these 7 steps. And I'm going to go over them really briefly with you because I think it's so important in grounding us in living in this gap. But please know that I teach the revolutionary journey in a 12-week course where we actually use our human energy design charts as a foundation that just catapults this 7-step process to, unbelievable levels. So I'm going to take you with me through the 7 steps because now that you know how to live in the gap with gratitude, attitude, and perception, you're going to, you know what we're going to do? We're going to flood your emotions and crystallize it into your body so that you can ground yourself into the gap. So travel with me, you all, through the 7 revolutionary steps to living with freedom, liberation, and bold self-expression in the gap. And step number 1 is to be who you are. That sounds so trite, I know, but everybody says, be who you are. And I, for one, have spent my entire life being who everybody else wanted me to be because I thought that's what I needed to do, to be perfect, to be accepted, and to be loved. And I know we all want to be loved. I've played out the rules that have been set up for me, and I've done so powerfully, and I've done so beautifully. I think we, particularly as women, and I'm not leaving men out, we have moved mountains before you all. We are amazing, amazing, powerful women. And I hear women in this day and time really yearning to live for themselves. And when I say living for themselves, giving themselves full permission to be who they are, and sometimes first to actually even get clarity on what that is. So I say, begin by celebrating you. Discover who it is that you are. In our 7-step journey, we go through exercises to discover who it is that you are, what it is that you want, what your values are, what's important to you, how to affirm your fabulousness, and how to really celebrate you for who you are. Yeah. So from this day forward, you get to be you, all of you, all the delicious and fabulousness that is you. Step number 2, I love this part. Step number 2 is making friends with fear. Why the heck would you want to do that? Well, I believe that we have all come here to this planet, you all, because we are attending the Classroom 101 called Fear. And that we have come here to evolve our fear so that we can be the love that we are, so that we can live in that gap and live in our heart, you all, and experience all of the emotions that come with coming from a place of love. And that we have pretty much designed ourselves, because part of the fun is going to be to push the edge of that envelope. Part of the fun is going to be jumping off of that cliff and trusting that our wings will appear. I say in my life that some of my most orgasmic moments, really, the juiciest moments, have been in those moments where I have felt my fear literally transform, where I have felt myself move into that place of power. And I love to tell people that, I just say, if you can't navigate change and transformation, if you can't overcome a fear with a little bit of juice and joy, you might as well just stay stuck. So I work with my clients and I work with folks, you all, and give them tools for change and transformation so that they can work on their fears and work on whatever issues are keeping them from living fully in their power so that we make friends with fear. That's step 2. Step 2. Okay, step 3, because it just, the better it gets, the better it gets. I believe Abraham Hicks said that. Step 3, passion, purpose, and play. Once you are pretty clear who you are, spiritual being having a fabulous human experience, here to squeeze the juice out of life, to play on God's playground in the field of all possibilities, and you're giving yourself permission to do that, and you have the tools to navigate your fears and to discover what it is that's keeping you frustrated and confused and stuck, then we move on, you all, to get really clear on what it is that you love to do so that you can give yourself 100% permission to do just that. Because you're uniquely gifted, skilled, and talented, you all. I said that. This is a great time to be here to discover your uniqueness, your style, your creative pizzazz, and own it, and to express it, to share it with others, and to do it full out and on your terms. I believe that you deserve to live a fabulous life, filled to the brim with passion, purpose, and boatloads of play. And when you do, you will be in that gap, and you will manifest the most delicious things. The universe has the greatest sense of humor. I have manifested so many amazing things over the past 12 to 18 months. I will be focused on one thing, but I'm so open to throwing the door open with the Creator and having the Creator dance with me that what comes to me, truly, you all, blows my skirt right the frig up over my head. I mean, ruffles ripped off of my petticoat. And that's what's possible for you when you're really clear on who you are and what it is that you've come here to do. You've given yourself permission to do it, and you've found a way to serve. That's what I help my clients do with delicious step number 3. On to step number 4, you all, and step number 4 is dreaming. Seeing it the way you want it to be. I think we've talked about that before. Your mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. You're making it up. I swear, whatever thoughts you're thinking, flooding with those emotional chemical components, you're making it up. And so I figure if you're going to make it up, you just might as well make it up in your favor. You might as well make it up to be something absolutely delicious. I believe that every rebel belle, every rebelicious belle deserves to have everything that she wants and deserves to boldly ask for what she wants and to go where no belle has ever gone before. To embrace uncertainty and to trust that she can have what she wants, and not just trust that she can have it, but absolutely expect it. So we have a process that we go through in our 12-week class where we get really clear on how to create your dreams, how to ask for what it is that you want, how to be really specific about it, and then absolutely expect it and bring it to fruition. And again, to me, having that human design chart in front of you, it's Katie bar the door, because you're really clear on who you are. You're really clear on your strengths, your gifts, your talents. You're clear on what's in the way, and you're clear on your purpose for being here. And clarity, to me, is almost everything. Okay, so here we are. We now know who we are. We're a fabulous spiritual being having a glorious human experience, being who we are in all of our power and magnificence in full permission. We have the tools to overcome uncertainty and any fear that might rear its little head, because we are on the path to living with passion, with purpose, so that we can experience boatloads of play. We know how to dream. We've remembered how to dream. We know how to ask for what we want and to fuel those things with the essences and the emotional feelings that will bring them to fruition. So with that in place, I'm telling you, you all, you're living in the gap. You got gratitude every day. You're walking by faith, not by sight. You've got your perceptive filter set to love, and you are in your heart, and you, my friends, have absolute gap abilities. Is that not a great word? So step number 5 is G.A.P ability, and it is the ability to create and sustain the joy that occurs in that space between stimulus and response. So hoo-ha for the G.A.P, and hoo-ha for living in the G.A.P. From this day forward, you have G.A.P ability. Step number 6. This is actually one of my favorite, you all. I believe, I told you in the beginning, I'm a personal growth enthusiast. I am a student of life. I have always been a student of life. I love to learn. I love to learn about life. I love to learn about me. I love to push the envelope. So I have always I've managed throughout my life, whether I was dancing as a little girl, whether I was in school doing my differential equations, whether I was playing tennis, whether I was being personally trained in the gym or personal training in the gym, whether I'm coaching clients or being coached. I believe that every good student deserves a teacher. Every good coach needs a coach, and that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You know, it's the one area of my life for some reason that I have absolutely no fear in, and I have always manifested the books, the tapes, the resources, the workshops, the coaches, the mentors, and the teachers that have helped to catapult my journey. And I would like to extend that invitation to you all. Seriously, I would love to be your mentor, and I would love to be your guide. If anything that I have shared with you resonates with you tonight, I know that change can be challenging sometimes, and I know that we have the best of intentions, but I truly believe that support and guidance is that little thing that kicks it up a notch, that just catapults us forward, that quantum leaps us into that space where we can truly live the life that we desire. So that's step number 6. Step number 7 is the last step on your little journey, your revelicious journey with me to freedom, liberation, and bold self-expression. And here it is, you all. It's the easiest one. I say it's easy. It might not be. Lighten up and have a little fun. Lighten up and have fun. You know, I have lived my 58 years being oh so serious at times that it's been kind of challenging to lighten up and have fun. But here's the truth. You didn't come to this physical time and place to prove anything to anybody. Not me, not your mama, not your husband, not your kids, or to prove yourself worthy, or to even make your mark on the world. You came forth out of the sheer exuberance for living life. Now, doesn't that sound a little like passion, purpose, and boatloads of play? I think it does. So lighten up and have fun. Step number 7. So here we are, you all, at the end of our revelicious time together. I hope that I have inspired you tonight to be enthused with gratitude, empowered your attitude to live with unlimited possibility, and given you the information on how you can set your perceptive filter to love every day, so that you now have the keys to living from your heart and from living in the G.A.P. Again, I want to thank everyone for the revelicious time we've had together. If you guys have any questions about living in the G.A.P., I invite you to get in touch with me at tuck@therebelbell.com. If you are interested in working with me as a mentor or your coach, here is my contact information. And if you would like to participate in the 12-week revolutionary program that we will be kicking off towards the end of the summer, where we'll go over the 7 revolutionary steps to freedom, liberation, and bold self-expression, and we will be using your personal human energy design chart in that process. I invite you again to either email me, or if you're like me and you just don't want to have to type it out, pick up the telephone and call me at 803-736-9240. 803-736-9240. Again, I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you for joining a little Tuck Talk. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday when we will be talking about your power, your genius, and your magic. Thanks for joining me.